I have what I call an annual plan.
Please, this one you have to tell us. Oh my gosh, every year.
Yeah. Integrity, honor, giving back to the society,
Wow.
and many other things. And so I named this first pillar G. So there are 4. I call it my 4G framework. So the second pillar for me is groups. And then there's the 4th. That's where more than 50% is growth. So this is where the money comes. But growth is also for my personal development. I know every year that I need to go to school to finish a course.
Every year?
Yeah. The last 3 years, every year I've gone to Harvard for 3 months.
Wow.
And done a course in relation to management or organizational development or strategy execution for a couple of months. And so I know that I have to develop myself.
And is it work related, or it's you who just decides this is what I want to do?
It's what I decide to do, but my office has also supported continuous professional development, so you are able to get time to do that, and it's also put in your performance management. But even before that, I already had, so I managed just to slide into it. But the big chunk of growth for me is usually investment. So over time, I learned on the need to diversify. And I always have different liners on how I want to diversify. You know, my journey started in the equities market, which we call the stock market. So there are a few counters that have consistently paid dividends. They have consistently been good, not having issues and scandals and so on. So I have tried as much as possible to invest into these counters. There is one of the banks in Kenya that you know I love investing into. And so one day they published the shareholders listing of that bank. They did the top 10 shareholders, then they did the top 10 individual shareholders. So I looked at the number of shares I had. At that time, I think there were maybe 50,000 shares. And I looked at whatever number 1 had, or 10, and I said, okay, if number 1 has 3 million shares valued at these, and they own 1.7% of the bank company, or the company, how much do I own? Then I did, and I got 0.000. There were 6 zeros and then 3, 4. Then I said, what if I add these money, then I will increase. And believe it or not, Rina, I brought the monies to Faida Investment Bank. I had my target. I said 100,000 every month, 10,000 off. From my salary, I would use it to buy shares. And 1 year later, I had knocked off a 0. And the following year, so I have really...
But tell us your goal, because you are very specific with that list.
Yeah, my goal is to be a leading shareholder.
Number?
Probably 10, maybe in 5 years. I hope I can be a person of influence in the space of finance in the country, not for my own good.
You already are.
Thank you. But that my story would inspire, more and more people to invest. So I usually have, for the stock market, this year I have this amount of money that I have to spend, one on this particular counter that I love, and secondly on any other counter that is doing well and is consistent. And then one thing, whenever I get dividends from this company and any other, I plow them back, because I know a time will come. And I say this respectfully. A couple of years ago, I couldn't afford a holiday. But now if I want to go to Seychelles, I will. And I don't use my money
from your salary.
It's part of what I get from this, that I plow back at least 70%.
Look at that.
And then I use 30%. From the 30%, I would probably give to church, give to family, support charity, and also give myself a little treat. So the friends of mine who started by buying cars, most of them still They have the cars. Some of them may not be in a position to go for holidays anytime they want, but I'm now in that position, and yet I still do not go, at least not as often.
And why are you jinyimaing now?
Because the time will come. I'm not jinyimaing completely, but I know the time will come. I want to get to a point where my money fully works for me.
Meaning?
I can go all over the world and live on dividends and live on interest.
Passive income.
Passive income. For me, my hope has always been to build my passive income, because we are employees, and sometimes you lose your job. But I want to be in a place where, one, I am an employer, and creating influence and encouraging my employees to save some more, especially from where they are. But usually the earlier you begin, the better.
Okay, just pause there. And that is very true. The earlier you begin, the better. How old are you now? I'm
now 42.
Oh, you're 42?
Yeah.
I don't know, my math was wrong.
My 42.
Has it been that long?
Yes, it's been 20.
I have aged.
3 years.
Okay.
We are aging gracefully. Look at you, looking
Lord
23.
have mercy. Now, there's somebody asking, is it too late for me?
Good question.
I am 42 now. Larry, this person you were in school with, they saw you eating chapati dondo. And now they're saying, God, when I was eating meat, this was Larry's plan. So is it too late for this 42-year-old to start now?
Normally, when is the time to start? It is now. And
What
if it's
was
not now, you know. So usually I say start when you hear this story. There are those who are lucky to have started earlier. I have a 4-year-old, and I wrote to you the other day that I want to begin teaching him about the stock market. Right now, he has a piggy bank, and whatever money, sometimes you throw money on the floor, but you teach him that you'll never necessarily collect money like that, and you ask him, where will we take this money? And he knows it's supposed to go to the piggy bank, not to buy lollipop. So after a while, you save this money in a bank or wherever, and whatever is left, you can use it for that lollipop. So for me, the time is now. And you don't have to have 10,000 shillings. You don't have to have 100,000 shillings. Rina, I've had you tell people to start with 5,000 shillings or 500. These days, there are money markets that you can use and send 500 shillings via mobile money transfer. So for me, the time to start is now. With what? With what is in your hand.
There's a gentleman I met yesterday. Total stranger. Total stranger. So he comes and says, why are you here? I was out of town, and I was training somewhere. And he comes and says, Akinyinyi watu, you guys, I don't like you because you keep telling us to stop spending. Like, what is this life you want us to live? Now, this life, I have no guarantee I have tomorrow. Right? He's probably maybe 50 or 40 something. I know. And he said, it's very exhausting. You're exhausting us. I said, okay. So we started talking about the reasons why. Only to find out that he confessed to me that he was struggling with gambling. Not now, used to struggle with gambling. And how, so it's like I triggered something in a memory. And he started talking about how there's one time he got his salary and he decided to make bet and lost all of his salary. He was left with 1,500 shillings. And he's like, man, I'm going home. What am I going to give my wife? So he decided not to go home because he was so stressed. He went and sat somewhere to think about life. And then he said, now it's only 1,500. See, let me just try and see what I can. Because Kenyans now, by the way, do you know that 84% of Kenyan youth have tried betting? I know. 30% of those bet daily. Wow. We are number 3 in Africa. In terms of how much we bet. We bet and gamble. Between 2022 and 2023, we bet about 88.2 billion. Within that time, in NSE, Nairobi Securities Exchange, the turnover for the year was 94B. Oops. 88 versus 94, right? Humundu. I'm telling you. Now this guy decides to bet his 1,500. He bets. He loses his money and is left with 50 bob. Oops. On the day he earned his salary, 50 bob. 50 bob. He sat back, he said, God, now what am I going to do? Now, I have lost my money. These guys have stolen my money.
Yeah, stolen.
Fact, they've stolen my money. Now, let me just give them this 50 bob. And he decides to use a strategy that is against what he would do. He bets 50 bob. Do you know how much he earned? 98,000.
Ooh.
These people are playing with our minds. These algorithms, they know he's the one who lost the whole salary. They know he's the one who lost 1.5. But so that he can continue, right? They give him 98,000. It's a trap, guys. Please, this betting is a disease. And it needs to stop. It is not an investment. In fact, young people are calling betting hustling. And
in the end, many of them are remaining disillusioned. We have more suicide cases. I heard of a motorbike rider, boda guy, who was saving money had saved money, a lot of money to build a home and to buy another motorbike. And he had 600,000. And so he went online and started betting. And he lost everything.
Oh, no.
He was buried 2 weeks ago.
Oh, no.
So that is how life
it doesn't work.
Is.
It doesn't work. This stranger told me he went back and he looked at how much has he withdrawn and how much has he deposited in this betting company. The difference was actually 1.5 million that he has given.
Look at that.
The betting company.
Look at that.
He was like, Yanni, I would have bought some land somewhere. I'd have financed, you know.
I think, Rina, for us, many of us as a people have the mentality of get rich quick, the pyramid mentality. You know, when you look at my story, you feel that it is rosy. I have made mistakes too.
And I want to hear about those mistakes in just a moment. Thank you so much, guys. Keep watching, subscribe, and please share these videos. Thank you.